People keep getting what they're getting for thinking what they're thinking. The problem is really not the problem. The problem is how you think about the problem. Unless you change your thinking, your outcome will not change. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. Depending on what part of the world you're listening to, one of them would be appropriate for you. And welcome to my Success Acceleration Program. I'm your host and facilitator, Wajid, Roger Salam, founder of the Winner Circle. Today's session is a new concept for achieving your goals that will forever alter how you look at goal achievement. Each session is about 30 to 60 minutes long, and at the end, there will be exercises that will take you much longer to complete. That is why between each session, there is a week. And that's why I've decided not to give you all the content at the same time and overwhelm you. Each week, I'll share with you a concept or idea that is designed to accelerate your success when applied. I am so excited to share this concept with you that I can't even sit down. If you could see me, I'm actually standing up as if I'm delivering this live to thousands of people in front of me. I hope you can hear the excitement and enthusiasm in my voice. And my excitement comes from a vision where I can see you achieving all the things you have ever wanted in your life. And many things you've tried before and failed, but this time it is guaranteed. Because now you're armed with a new way to achieve your old goals, or perhaps many new goals, because it'll inspire you to think even bigger through the power of today's topic called, guess what? It is such a powerful topic. It is called inevitability thinking. Inevitability thinking. And so let me tell you what we're going to cover today in our inevitability thinking process. What we're going to cover today is, in our inevitability thinking, is, let's see, what we'll cover is, of course, what is inevitability thinking, why positive thinking is not enough, goal setting versus inevitability thinking, eliminating fear using inevitability thinking, eliminating cognitive dissonance with inevitability thinking, problem solving versus goal setting, and finally, applying inevitability thinking. So these are what we're going to cover today. As I said, each session is about 30 to 60 minutes, and at the end, I will give you some exercises, homework to do to apply this in your life. So with that being said, let's delve into what we're going to be talking about. You know, for years, literally for years, I've been operating on the power of positive thinking. And that is certainly better than negative thinking, but I have discovered another level of thinking called inevitability thinking, which I believe is way more powerful than positive thinking when it comes to achieving your goals or outcomes you're after. It is the most powerful thought process I have found to date. And that's why I am so excited, because it's going to helping me. Anything and everything that I'm doing, I'm first applying to myself. I'm a student just like you. So this is the very first time ever I'm sharing this concept. And the most amazing thing about it is the simplicity of it. The essence of genius is simplicity. As I tell you more about it, you may recognize it, or at least parts of it, and perhaps even be using it in many aspects of your life. But once you consciously learn and apply this thinking process in every outcome you're after, you will be nothing short of amazed at the results. And so, one of my mentors, Nida Cobain, by the way, he's an awesome guy, introduced me to a concept called intentional congruence. And intentional congruence, like I said, you may recognize it here and there, but when you intentionally and congruently apply inevitability thinking, then the sky isn't even the limit of what you can achieve. But before I delve into inevitability thinking, let me show you the progress in my thinking process. So, can you achieve your goals with just positive thinking? Sure. Many has done it. The concept of positive thinking was popularized by the famous book by Christian minister and author Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. And if you've not read The Power of Positive Thinking, please add it to your list right now. It is part of your foundation. As examples of positive thinking, I'll share with you a few great statements from Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. And also, this is what we're talking about. Let me share with you a few examples. Like he said, live simply, expect little, give much. Fill your life with love. Scatter sunshine. Forget self, think of others. Do as you would be done by. Formulate a mental picture of you as yourself succeeding. Let nothing trouble you. Aren't these phenomenal examples of positive thinking? Could your life be improved massively if you think these positive thoughts and apply them? Of course it will. But more advanced than positive thinking is positive imaging. Positive imaging, actually, if you want to know what positive imaging is a very important trait of all successful people who have created wealth and success in their lives. They have the ability to focus their minds on the things that they would like to have happen as opposed to the things they would want to avoid happen. You know, the mind thinks in pictures. So if you ask people what they want in life, you'll very often find that you'll get a list of things they'd like to avoid in life. You know, what do you want? Well, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want that. Have you ever heard the saying that whatever you resist persists? Or how about wherever your energy flows, it grows? Whatever you give your energy to, it'll grow. Whatever you're trying to resist, you're going to get more of it. So, but when it comes to achieving your goals, for most people, what I find is that positive thinking or positive imaging is not enough. Yes, your life will improve if you think these positive thoughts, but how can you ensure that you think like these most of the time, if not all the time? For example, a second ago we just gave you examples of forget self and think of others. But how can you forget self and think of others on a regular basis? Scatter sunshine. Beautiful. But what has to happen for you to scatter sunshine automatically? Fill your life with love. How can you ensure that your life is filled with love? And the difference between positive thinking and inevitability thinking is that positive thinking is based on belief and inevitability thinking is based on knowing. You know, anything good and great that has happened in my life is because of the many mentors I've had in my life and I currently have in my life and over the years. The concept of operating from believing versus knowing was introduced to me by one of my mentors, Mayer. And when I heard that, it really reinforced. I mean, it took me to another whole new level, just like this inevitability thinking is taking my thinking to another new level. Let me give you an example of the difference, knowing versus believing. Let's say if I'm talking to John and asking him, do you believe your name is John or do you know your name is John? The answer is always he'd say, I know my name is John. I mean, you don't have to believe or do positive affirmations that your name is John. You already know it. It's a foregone conclusion because the level of certainty that you have. So what is Inevitability thinking. What is inevitability thinking? If you want to know what inevitability thinking is not just thinking, but thinking and acting in a way as if what you're after is a foregone conclusion because you have set up the conditions for it to happen. Inevitability thinking is about having the confidence to know that a given outcome is available to you if you set up the conditions for it to happen almost automatically. This is an absolute fact. It has to happen eventually. When and how may vary, and because of timing, luck, and other things you seemingly can't control, but luck, timing, and necessary conditions will occur given you do what is required. And later on, I'll also share with you how you can achieve what you're after, even if you encounter bad luck, bad timing, wrong place, unfortunate accidents, and seemingly uncontrollable events in your life. But you must first set up the conditions for it to happen. As a matter of fact, many of you already do this in many circumstances or situations in your life, but have not applied it to achieving your larger goals. You're not applying it consciously, or what Nito Cobain would call intentional congruence, and intentionally and congruently. I'll give you examples that I use in my life, and it'll be much clearer to you what I mean by inevitability thinking and how to set up conditions to achieve the desired outcome, how it's different. So what I'm going to do now is, rather than explain a little bit more in detail about what inevitability thinking is, so rather than viewing something that you want as a goal that must be achieved, instead view it as an outcome that is inevitable. And this is a subtle shift in thinking. Let me say again, that view it not something you want as a goal that must be achieved, but view it as an outcome that is inevitable. And this subtle shift in thinking, and you may even call it semantics, but it is way more, but in terms of what it does to your perception of a problem or goal is amazing. For example, if you had a goal to lose weight and become fit, then you'd be thinking first of everything you had to do to reach that goal. But if you believed and embraced that being fit and healthy was inevitable for you, that shift totally changes the way you think about yourself and achievement. If an outcome becomes inevitable, then the process becomes natural. If success is perceived as inevitable, then you'll find a way to make it happen. You are out picturing the final result. It already exists. You just have to arrive there. Think about it. It is phenomenally different with that shift, what I'm sharing with you right now. So let me tell you, because all we're talking about is achieving your goals, and I was at these are the most popular goals according to the USA.gov, and every year people set their goals, and they may vary in orders, but these are the most popular 10 or top goals that over the years have come on the top 10. Number 1, guess what? Lose weight. Volunteer to help others. Quit smoking. Get a better education. Get a better job. Save money. Get fit. Manage stress. Manage debt. And let me ask you this. How many of you have lose weight as part of your New Year's goal like most Americans? Now, if I were in front of a live audience, I bet you 90% of the hands probably would go up because that's about the number, or at least I would say 70%. Majority of the room, no doubt, will raise their hand for this question. So how can you accomplish your goal of losing weight? Good intentions and positive thinking doesn't take the pounds off. You know that by now, don't you? Willpower ain't going to do it either. As a matter of fact, when you're hungry and craving food, willpower is the last thing that'll save you from driving into the nearest Golden Arches and having the Big Mac with large fries and of course, Diet Coke for your conscience. There are all kinds of diets that you can get into to lose weight and accomplish your goal. And you know that there are many, as many probably ways you can think of. So how can you apply inevitability thinking here to reach your outcome of weight loss? What conditions can you set up for this outcome to be inevitable? So, the second part of this awesome concept is the how to get there element. When something is inevitable, it already exists on some level. So you just have to set up the conditions to pull that truth into your physical reality. What needs to be done to get you from this reality now to the inevitable reality of your success? You see that those steps are easy. Use the inevitability factor as a magnet to draw you forward. Think about times you've gone swimming in the open water. When it's time to turn around and start heading back to shore, it's as though an invisible rope is pulling you along. You know you're going to get back to shore. So you just get there. You don't have to think about each stroke along the way. I saw a website recently called Eventual Millionaire by Jamie Chitari, who writes a blog by the same name called Eventual Millionaire. It's amazing that look at the name. The name alone proclaims the inevitability of her success. Eventual Millionaire. If you look at her intro video, you'll see that she's just another average individual, mother of 2 children, and struggling with her own life issues and stress, success, and fulfillment. But she rose above the quagmire of mediocrity by taking massive action and creating a process where her millionaire status is just waiting for her arrival. Absolutely. And so that's what we're talking about in here in terms of that if you have any acquaintance with the quantum mechanics, the idea of 2 realities can simultaneously exist. It's not so far-fetched. Once you focus your attention on the reality that you wish to have, you have just created the momentum to propel yourself toward that reality. So, what are the different kinds of conditions that you can set to achieve any goals? Because here is the several definitions. I've emphasized that it's nothing but setting up conditions so in your life so that the outcome that you're after is inevitable. So what I've done is studied this concept and from different sources just categorized. My goal is to make this concept so simple, almost paint by numbers, so that you can, any outcome that you want, and you just plug and play. And what is it for this? So I believe there are 5 different kinds of conditions that you can set up. And these are your knowledge condition, your environment condition, your expert condition, your accountability and support condition, and your rituals condition. So let's go through each one of them and explain more and then give you examples. Let's see. There you go. And first is the knowledge condition. Those who have heard me before, you know that to achieve anything in life, you only need 2 things. Anything you want to achieve in life, you only need 2 things. 1 is burning desire, and 2 is specialized knowledge. Those are the only 2 things that you need to achieve any goal that you want in life. So I'm assuming you have the burning desire, and that's why you're here in my course. To achieve any goal, I believe one of the first things to do is educating yourself about what is it that you're after. For example, if your goal is to lose weight, then educate yourself about healthy foods, learning how to increase your metabolism and find effective and proven ways that you can lose weight. How can you ensure that this step 1 happens? So you've got knowledge condition. You know that you need to get knowledge if you want financial freedom, you want to, become financially free. These are all specialized knowledge you need to get there. So how can you do that? How can you set up conditions? A, you can buy books and courses. You can research them, ask for recommendations, and you can buy them or borrow them. Basically, get your hands on the education materials as soon as you can. And next step is to schedule them on your calendar as to when you're going to study them. You block time ahead so that when that time comes, you do it. It's just automatic. Interesting thing about this is that even if you miss it, because it's in your calendar, you now consciously move it to another time to make it happen. Because the landscape changes. But because it's in there, and I remember Dr. Stephen Covey, his concept of this that changed my life in terms of time management and organization and productivity is, he says, it's more important to schedule your priorities than to prioritize your schedule. Most people just get a whole bunch of list of things and then they start prioritizing. Instead, what's important, you schedule your priorities in your calendar. So the first step is to get the knowledge, to make it happen. Or, another example of get the knowledge condition happen is perhaps enroll in a seminar. Register now and buy your airline ticket and other travel arrangement, so that is a foregone conclusion that it's going to happen because you're going to go there. You already enrolled in it. So it is no doubt in your mind that your goal this year is to achieve this particular goal, so you are enrolling for this. Like one of my goals is to start another business in digital currency. And I'm registered this January 15th, 16th, 17th to go to Miami for the 3-day North American conference for the entire North America. So I know that I'm going to get my knowledge level will just go up. And knowledge, there's a triangle KRC, knowledge, responsibility, and control. And any one of them goes up, you get more control. Once you have more knowledge, you have more control, and control equals income. That's another discussion. So the first step in anything, any major outcome is to education, is education, and to educate yourself and to get yourself exposed to that particular arena and create a support group, and how you have set up conditions that the education has to happen. And when you set up these conditions that I just shared, you cannot not learn. If you go to the seminar or listen to the courses or you watch free YouTube videos, learning is a foregone conclusion. End of story. So your knowledge condition is set. How about the environment condition? You know that you've heard that we are products of our environment. Of course, the environment has a huge impact on our achievement and who we become. So what could be the environment that could impact you negatively? Let's take the example of losing weight. What could in our environment negatively impact us to lose weight? Well, use every technique in the book to set up conditions that will protect you from unhealthy eating, overeating, or binge eating. These are the ways people fall off the wagon. So one of the ways you can do, you set up your condition A, is it's house cleaning time, or better yet, kitchen, cupboard, and pantry cleaning time, to be more specific. If your environment has unhealthy food, then it's only a matter of time. You'll be tempted to have them for one reason or another. So the condition here is get rid of all unhealthy foods from your home. Clean your refrigerator and freezer. Get rid of all those gallon tubs of Haagen-Dazs ice cream and chocolate Dove bars, or whatever is it that you have and you know is not good for you when you're trying to lose weight. So, and basically eliminate anything in your environment that no longer supports you in achieving your outcome. So how can you ensure you eat healthy meals? Stock your refrigerator with healthy alternatives. And don't have your business meetings at Golden Corral Buffet. Hire a nutrition coach, a fitness chef, or a friend who's into healthy eating. Learn to cook healthy and prepare your meals in advance for the entire day or cook for the entire week. One of the ways people fall off the wagon is when they are not at home. So carry your food if you're going to be away for several hours. You're out shopping and doing things and several hours have gone by and you're starving. And you can't find anything, so that the nearest place food, and you just walk in and you start eating whatever they have. This is when you get into trouble. No worries. You have set up conditions for that not to happen because you're carrying your food with you. Or you have a couple of protein bars or stashed in your purse or wallet to get your hunger pains satiated. I've done all of that, and now I eat every 3 hours. That is portion control. Never go to the grocery store hungry. And how do you set up that condition for that not to happen? I keep protein bars in my dashboard and not Snicker bars. So you set up these conditions in advance. Are you getting the picture? Is it becoming clearer, the difference between wishful positive thinking and focused inevitability thinking? I hope so. And let these examples trigger your own conditions for reaching your goals. So let's talk about the next one, expert conditions. Are there any experts you need to hire or call upon to solve your problem? For example, there are medically supervised weight loss programs where you go to see the doctor's office and they take all kinds of measurements inside and out to make sure that you're not creating unintentional side effects. If you have concerns for that, then you enroll with a basically medically supervised program where you've got to go to the office once a week at least, and this is another way of setting up the condition for your outcome. If your goal is to get fit, you might want to hire a fitness trainer. Don't go alone. Increase your odds of success. So another condition for setting up is your accountability and support. Your accountability and support. Knowing that most people will do more for others than they will ever do for themselves, set up a system of accountability with someone you trust or highly respect to assure yourself that you will accomplish your goal. Because I ask all the time to people in my audience that, how many of you will do more for others than you'll ever do for yourself? Inevitably, almost every hand goes up. So you're not going to go, by yourself. Then find a buddy. Knowing also, here's another thing, knowing that people are more motivated by loss than by gain, set up a reward and punishment system that will force you to avoid the punishment. Ask yourself, how do I make it painful to not do the things that will lead to what I want? Because of the accountability you put in place and the consequences, not doing the things that will automatically get you the result would be much more worse than simply doing them. You can, for example, write a check for $100 to a friend. Every week you don't do the things you're supposed to do. He'll cash in the check and you'll have to replace the check with another one. So you need to, recruit, perhaps, don't go alone, find a buddy. Recruit a friend who has the same or similar goal and use each other as buddy system to hold each other accountable. Set up a system of reward and punishment with your buddy, like I just gave you an example. And I'll give you another one that instead of maybe the $100 is not big enough pain for you, or even $1,000 may not be a big enough pain for you, but I have a friend, a really dear friend, and actually he created a whole accountability program, and I was his accountability partner. And you ask your accountability partner what is going to be a painful consequence to them. And for him, it was, he gave me his password to his Facebook account. And if he didn't do what he was supposed to do, then I get to go at the end of the week, change his Facebook account password, so until he does it, he cannot get it back because I have the new password. That was incredibly painful to him because he's an internet marketer and he lives on Facebook. So that is way more painful for him than just give me $100, because he would rather give me $100 if that's his easy way out. So find what's painful to your partner and then do that. You could also join a support group, and that's what the Weight Watchers is. That's what AA is. It's a support group to ensure that they don't fall off the wagon. Think about it. You can also join a mastermind group, and that's what I have done. Anything good and great that has happened to my life is almost since 2007 is a direct, not even an indirect result of the mastermind group called the Winner Circle. And the Winner Circle is an invitation-only mastermind forum for top achievers. And you want to know what a mastermind group is? It's a group of 2 or more people in perfect harmony towards the attainment of a definite purpose. Who are the smartest people you have in your team that you can put together? What other experts do you have access to? So these are the ways that you can ensure that you achieve your goals. And it's no longer a chance that you know that you have a mentor, you have a coach. For me, those are the people that hold me accountable more than anyone else. And one thing about accountability is this is something very, very few people can be accountable to themselves. So they always have their family or someone else that they, make their accountability partner. That's why they do it. So let's one last one. The rituals condition. Another easy way to incorporate a habit into your life is by assigning the new behavior a trigger or a specific place, so you can chain behaviors together. For example, part of my morning ritual is to drink a big glass of water first thing in the morning when I wake up. I also take a digestive enzyme, which is better taken on an empty stomach, followed by a special green drink. So how many of you forget to have your vitamins or critical medicine sometimes? Before I go to bed, I set up the condition for that to happen by putting a bottle of water right next to my bed, and I used to keep the vitamins on the bathroom sink. Even if I somehow bypass the nightstand and miss my water, I have to notice the vitamin on the sink and have to get the water as a result. Now I don't miss it anymore. The reason I said I used to keep the vitamin on the sink countertop is because now it has become a habit and I don't have to go to that extra double precaution of missing the morning ritual. So are you getting the picture? It is not just a simple act. That's what I say, that some people perhaps do these little things, but this little thing is an example of how you make the outcome inevitable. How many of you have set up, physical fitness as your top goals, or hitting the gym as your part of your New Year's resolution? You know that buying a gym membership card does not build six-packs. You actually have to go there. Oh, now you tell me. No wonder I'm behind on my six-packs. So positive thinking is buying the gym membership and doing positive affirmation that you'll go to the gym every morning. But inevitability thinking is having a personal trainer in your gym who's waiting for you in the morning. Inevitability thinking is having a personal trainer that comes to your house so you can escape even when you're not feeling like going to the gym that day. Inevitability thinking is having a gym buddy who picks you up from your house and go together. Guess what? I have done all three. Exercising is now a habit. Exercise is the reward, not a punishment that I have to make my body go through in order to get a reward, which is look a certain way. I heard a statistic that 95% of the people who buy a gym membership quit within the first 3 weeks. But those who get a personal trainer, over 90% stick to it. The biggest benefit of physical exercise is not physical, it's mental. What's your real motivation? Why do you want to exercise? Change your thinking about exercise. Find your real motivation and then create conditions so that your outcome of physical vitality is a foregone conclusion. You know, everything that I do, I cannot tell you how many years I've been thinking about creating a personal development course. That my years of 2 decades of experience in this industry, but I have not done it. So how did I apply this inevitability thinking in this? I decided, I went on the road and I said, you know what? I'm going to sell the course. If I sell it, I don't have a choice, but I must complete it. And as a result, it has happened. Otherwise, for one reason or another, I procrastinate and just it never happened. This is the first time. So 2015 is a very different year. It's not by just every year I'm saying it's a different year. It is, I know, remember I said I used to believe that I'm going to achieve? Believing versus knowing. That's the difference. Obviously, for this to work, you need a proven system based on fundamentals that work. You should also look for ways to reinforce the inevitability as you are working. By doing this, you hold yourself accountable to tangible results and you start to see the conditions manifest. Once all the conditions are met, guess what? You have your outcome. You're building the conditions for success and achieving tangible results. Keep doing this and you end up at the top of your success ladder. So we're going to talk about morning rituals, and now that's one of the topics for the 8-week program in more details. So let me share with you how inevitability eliminates fear, why I love inevitability thinking. Fear is the killer of dreams because it stops you from doing the things that you need to do to achieve your outcome. Whatever is it that you want in life, and if you're not already totally going for it, then it's some form of fear that is stopping you. It's fear of the unknown, fear of looking foolish, fear of failure, fear of success. Yes, that is a real fear for some. Mostly, fear comes from not knowing. I love inevitability thinking because it immediately removes fear and doubt and negativity and turns what you're doing into a process, a series of steps that when done right, earn you the reward. It's no longer random. You just need to collect the resources and knowledge necessary and get busy doing. Most people, when they start something new, focus on how foreign everything feels, how lacking they are in knowledge and experience, how afraid they are of failing, and all kinds of reasons for not doing it. With inevitability thinking, you know from the start that you can achieve what you're aiming for because you know what it takes to make it happen. All that stands in your way is putting in the work. You don't contemplate failure or spend time dwelling on all the reasons you can't succeed. That is a waste of energy. This might seem like a simple concept, but it's actually quite hard to master. We're human, and the time and confidence only sets in once you have achievement. By the way, do you know what confidence is? Most people don't have a clear answer, so let me give you the simple truth and the real definition of confidence. Confidence is trusting your decisions. Confidence is trusting your decisions. And for example, when I think about starting a new seminar or course, I feel very confident it will succeed because I've done it before. I know the process, and the only real challenge is setting aside the time to do the work. I decide to do a new course or new seminar, and I have confidence because I trust my decision to do it. It's important you understand that inevitability thinking isn't blind. You don't just tell yourself you'll succeed or do positive affirmations, and you have to know the principles you're working from, and they work. There are proven laws which many other people have already used and succeeded with. Your belief comes from knowing the process works and is reinforced every day as you slowly build up the conditions required for success. And another fascinating thing is how inevitability thinking eliminates cognitive dissonance. Now, that's a big word. What the hell is cognitive dissonance? And it is another really most important reason is this. Cognitive dissonance is a fancy term for the alignment of your words and actions. And I have observed time and again that the majority of people say that they are going to do something, but when it comes time to take action, they find excuse or they ignore the issues altogether. Really. And the more time I spend on this planet, the more I find this to be true. I find it sad that when a friend says that they are going to do something, but then they all of a sudden are too busy or something came up. While the fact that cognitive dissonance runs rampant among others bothers me a bit, I believe that is not the worst part of the issue. There is a facet of the issue that bothers me even more. An area that has, caused me much pain in the past. The problem that bothers me the most is I do exactly the same to myself. There have been so many times in which I promised myself that I was going to do something different. I was going to start a new, positive, healthy habit, only to brush it off and not follow through. I would often find myself feeling hurt that I did not follow through. And yet, I kept making the same mistake. It was as if I were hitting myself with a hammer and saying, boy, this sure does hurt. I really shouldn't do that again, only to find myself in pain once again from the blows of the hammer. It is my belief that if you want to stand out, then you have to choose a different path than all other people. You have to set yourself on the side that the majority is not on. This is where inevitability thinking comes. It is simple yet profound idea that you set a system up to make sure that you do not fail to reach your goals. Using inevitability thinking, you can eliminate cognitive dissonance once and for all. So, let's look at an alternative to goal setting for achievement. Because anything you'd like to achieve in life, the deliberate way of achieving that is the power of goal setting. Unfortunately, this does not work for most of the people, and until now, this has been the main method for achieving anything. By definition, the next level in your life is something you almost don't know how to do. If you did, you'd already be at that level. Someone is making $50,000 a year because they don't know how to make $100,000 a year. If they did, they'd already be making it. So you could set a goal for achieving $100,000 a year and try to go about achieving it through this goal setting. So stop setting your goals if you'd rather solve problems. Robert Beale came along with this book based on his research, and he found that people would rather solve problems than set goals. Most people don't like setting goals because they're not motivated by, let's say, goal setting. And a key factor in this is most people already have a problem-solving mindset and not necessarily a goal-setting mindset. Most of us have encountered problems all along our lives since childhood, and we have been overcoming them to get what we want. But we didn't call it goal setting or went through a goal setting process. We've all built up a pretty good problem-solving muscle. Often people look at goals as something to be done or achieved. If you look at it as a puzzle to be solved, then you'll use your mind in a different way. We all have a keen ability to problem solve. This is why puzzles, quiz shows, and computer games are so popular. They engage the part of the brain that loves a challenge. This part of the mind engages your thinking so that you create a success scenario that from that you build your strategy and your action plan. So the most important factor here is that what I started with, this session with, your thinking. It is about setting your entire life so that you cannot fail to achieve your goals and turning them from wishes with plans into inevitable outcomes. This does not mean that you'll necessarily get it right the first time. It could be that many factors arise that you had not anticipated. If this is the case, you then have to modify the inevitability conditions and your plan to achieve your goals. So, if you set up conditions so that the thing you want have happened is inevitable, it shifts your thinking. Creating conditions so that something will happen itself is very different from having to trying to make the thing happen. Let me repeat that so you get the difference, that creating conditions so that something will happen itself is very different from having to trying to make the thing happen. So if you set up conditions so the thing you want to have happen is inevitable, it'll shift your thinking. And that's what we're talking about here. And so now, hopefully you have a much better understanding of, and it's triggering your mindset in many different ways to your own setting up and conditions in your life. So what does all this mean and how you're going to implement inevitability in your life? Here it is. I'll put it step by step. Step 1. Pick something that you want to achieve or accomplish. Simple. Because you have that. And then go to step 2. Step 2 is begin to view it as inevitable. Do this in every mental and practical way you can imagine. Think about it, visualize it, draw it, write about it, make a vision board. Whatever you need to do, do that. And then you go to step 3. What is step 3? Step 3 is right here. Start setting up the conditions to allow it to happen naturally. Every day, create those conditions one after another. One after another. And finally, the last step, step 4, watch, wait, and act expectantly, as if it has to happen. Feel yourself being pulled toward the inevitable outcome. Know it as a reality. Know it as a reality. And that is how you set up inevitability thinking in your daily life. Whether the outcome is just small outcome or outcome is a larger outcome. The thinking process is the same. So let me end, like every session we're going to end with exercise. This is your homework. Goal setting questions using inevitability thinking. So what are we talking about here? Oh, you know what? My mentor, Anthony Robbins, used to have a say all the time that most people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in a decade. Let me repeat that. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in a decade. So what I'd like you to do is this year, let this 2015 be different from all the other years. And if you're listening to this tape in 2016 or 2020, who knows? Let that year for you be totally different than any other year. So we're going to look at it a decade ahead. Where do I want to be in 10 years? What are the outcomes I want to achieve in a decade? Perhaps physically. Health, fitness, vitality. How do you want to look physically 10 years from now? What kind of body fat percentage do you want to have? What kind of physical activities would you like to continue doing 10 years from now? So you set up your physical outcomes, financially, your money and wealth. How much money would you want in your bank? What kind of wealth accumulation have you had in 10 years? What kind of things you'd want materially? All the toys. And where do you want to travel? You know, the saying that he who dies with most toys wins. In Beverly Hills, there's a store called The Difference Between Men and Boys is the Price of Their Toys. Literally. And now that's being a little sexist comment that you can translate in 2015 to be more politically correct. So if you're male, female, what are your toys you want? Materially that you want. This is an incredibly beautiful world. There's some incredibly beautiful things, but it costs money to acquire them. How many would love to shower others with those luxury items and gifts? Not for yourself. Think about it. Oh my God, it gives me goosebumps to send somebody, I want to see someone, I send them a first class ticket. Hey, here's a first class ticket, come and see me. Will it change the dynamics of your relationship with that person? It will. But it requires a new level of thinking. Socially, what kind of relationships you want to have with your loved ones a decade from now? You gave you a decade to accomplish. Go. Set aside. Perhaps this weekend, go to someplace really nice. And I had a chance to think about it. And I was in Niagara Falls. The most amazing, amazing view, and the environment. I had a chance to really do some contemplation. And those kind of places, it adds. So that's spiritually, your relationship with your higher power, whatever you believe. Right? This is your exercise. And question number 2. Where do you want to be in 5 years? What are the milestones I want to achieve in 5 years? Same thing for 1 year. What are my 1 year outcome? What are my 1 year outcome? For 90 days, where do I want to be in 90 days? What to accomplish? What kind of results? What is the one highest leverage thing I could start doing immediately to achieve those different levels? This was a phenomenal question, and it just hit me. I know what I have to do to leverage of all the activities to propel myself to the next level. And there's a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller from Keller Williams Realty. That'll help you. And question 6. Now we come. What conditions would I need to set up so that doing that thing is inevitable? And question number 7 is installing those conditions. What can I do to get these conditions or those conditions in place as soon as possible? So ladies and gentlemen, no matter where you're listening to this today's session, and I hope this is your second, third, fourth, fifth time listening. If you didn't get the first time, thank you for joining me and giving me the privilege of sharing. I hope I've made a difference. I've introduced you to a concept that'll help you achieve. Please, I love feedback. Send me your feedback. Email me. This is my direct email. And send me how I can support you. What do you like or dislike? And, of course, this will be available to you perpetually in the password protected section of your platform, which you'll get. Once again, God bless, and I'll see you next week.